Alrighty, so in case you weren't aware, I recently made a video talking about fan-made entities in Roblox stores, and how some members of the community managed to get their entities added to the game. If you haven't seen that video yet, then I highly recommend watching it. Anyways, now I have decided to toss my hat into the ring and make an entity concept of my own, which I'll be sharing with all of you guys here in this video. I'll be going over everything about it, such as its name, design, and behaviors. I don't want to waste any more of your time, so with all of that being said, let's begin. Okay, so my fan-made entity in question goes by the name of Plague. Plague physically is a mannequin which takes on the appearance of a mutilated and sickened body. Here, I created a rough concept sketch so you can all see what it looks like. Some key details about its appearance is that instead of a face, it has two large cuts on the front of its head, appearing as if someone started drawing a face to get the proportions right. Additionally, seeing how it is a mannequin, it doesn't have any arms or legs, and instead it is held up by a singular wooden beam. Now, although I didn't draw some of the more atmospheric details in this sketch, I'd imagine that there would be flies buzzing around the sky, similar to the ones flying around a Bob. Additionally, I also imagine there to be more variety in the wounds on the mannequin, such as bones showing or something like that. Anyways, the point is that this mannequin should look like it's been torn apart and rotting for ages, almost as if some disease ate it from the inside. Now, as for Plague's spawning and mobility behaviors, I'd say they would be similar to eyes. As I had mentioned before, seeing as how they don't have any legs or arms, they wouldn't be able to move around, meaning similarly to eyes, they would just stay still when they spawn in. Additionally, speaking of Plague spawning, it too, similarly to eyes, would just spawn randomly in certain rooms. However, based on what exactly this entity does to hinder the player's progression, which I'll get into a little later, I think it should have a higher chance of spawning when paired with other entities, similarly to how A90 functions. Although Plague is dangerous on their own, they work much better in a team. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, how would Plague function? Well, based on its name, its purpose would be to spread a plague or disease to nearby players. The way this would work is that getting too close to this entity would cause you to receive a diseased status effect. Whilst having this status effect, you'll experience slowness, blurred vision, and muffled hearing. Additionally, your health will gradually drain. However, similarly to how Snare works, it wouldn't be able to kill you, just get you down to really low health. This is why I said Plague pairs better with other entities, as all of the outcomes of the disease status effect will disorient and distract any inflicted players from the real threats, making for a difficult challenge. Now, after the few seconds, the effects of the disease will disappear. However, during the time they are active, it can be detrimental to the player if they aren't careful. So, with all of that being said, how exactly can players avoid Plague and the effects it brings? Well, it's as easy as avoiding Snare. All you have to do is walk around the entity and you'll be fine. However, judging by how many times players have been caught in snares, this is definitely a task which is easier said than done. You can also use a crucifix on it, but those are pretty rare to come by. So, to summarize, Plague is an entity which takes the appearance of a disfigured mannequin, and getting too close to it will cause you to have the diseased status effect, which will aim to disorient you from the real threats such as oncoming deadly entities. Its goal is to confuse and make the challenge of surviving the game a little harder. Anyways, that is essentially everything I have to say about this fan-made entity concept for Roblox stores. So, with all of that being said, thank you all for watching and I hope you enjoyed.